Marcus Webb pushed the cleaning cart down the long hallway of the Crimson Spire. The wheels squeaked softly in the silence. It was 3 in the morning, and the palace was empty. At least it was supposed to be empty. The palace belonged to Empress Kael'thra, ruler of the Valorian Empire. Her empire stretched across 2,000 worlds. Earth was not one of them. Earth was new. Earth was small. Earth was useful only for workers who would do jobs that nobody else wanted to do. Marcus was one of those workers. He was 34 years old and very far from home. Every night he cleaned the floors of the royal archives. Every month he sent money back to Earth. The money paid for his daughter's medicine. Emma was sick. The doctors said she needed expensive treatments. Marcus would do anything for Emma. Even leave her behind and work on an alien world. He stopped at the archive entrance and pulled out his keycard. The door hissed open. Inside, tall shelves reached toward the ceiling. They were filled with data crystals that glowed softly in the dark. Marcus had learned not to touch them. He was only here to clean. He started mopping the floor. As he worked, he hummed a song. It was a lullaby he used to sing to Emma when she was little. The melody echoed in the empty room. "What is that sound you are making?" Marcus jumped. He spun around and saw her. Princess Lysara stood between 2 shelves. She was small for a Valorian, only reaching Marcus's shoulder. Her skin had a purple tint, and her large eyes reflected the light like a cat's eyes. She wore a simple gray dress, not the fancy clothes he had seen in pictures. "Your Highness," Marcus said quickly. He bowed his head. "I'm sorry. I didn't know anyone was here." "You did not answer my question," the princess said. She stepped closer. "That sound, the one you were making with your mouth." "Oh, that's called humming. It's a song." "A song?" She tilted her head. "What is its purpose?" Marcus leaned on his mop. "It's a lullaby, a song you sing to children to help them sleep. I used to sing it to my daughter." The princess's eyes widened. "You have offspring? But you are here alone." "Yeah." Marcus felt the familiar pain in his chest. "She's back on Earth. She's sick, and the treatments cost a lot of money, so I work here and send money home." "You left your offspring when she is ill?" The princess looked confused. "That is strange behavior." "It's the only way I can help her," Marcus said quietly. The princess was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "What are the words to your song?" Marcus smiled sadly. "It's in English. That's my language. You wouldn't understand it. Teach me." "What?" "Teach me these words. I wish to know them." Marcus looked around nervously. "I don't think that's a good idea, Your Highness. I'm just here to clean. I'm not supposed to talk to you." "There is no one here but us," the princess said. She sat down on the floor right there, crossing her legs. "Please, no one teaches me anything interesting, only boring things about ruling and protocol and war strategies." Marcus saw something in her face that reminded him of Emma. Loneliness. He sighed and sat down too, forgetting about the mop. "Okay," he said. "The song goes like this. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird." He taught her the words slowly. The princess repeated them carefully. Her accent was strange, but she learned fast. When she sang the whole first verse, she smiled. Marcus realized it might be the first real smile he had seen on her face. "What is a mockingbird?" she asked. "It's a bird from Earth. It can copy the sounds of other birds." "We have no birds here," the princess said sadly. "We have no animals at all in the palace. Mother says they are unnecessary." After that night, the princess came back. Every night during Marcus's shift, she appeared in the archives. He taught her more English words. Simple things at first. "Hello. Goodbye. Thank you. How are you?" But the princess wanted to learn everything. She asked about Earth, about birds and trees and oceans. Marcus showed her pictures on his old data pad. She stared at images of forests and mountains with wonder. "Your world is so full of life," she whispered one night. "Ours is all metal and stone." "Don't you have nature here?" Marcus asked. "We destroyed most of it when we built our cities. That was thousands of years ago. Now we take what we need from other planets." Marcus didn't know what to say to that. Weeks passed. The lessons became the best part of Marcus's day. He taught the Princess Earth poems. She loved Robert Frost. She made him explain every word of The Road Not Taken 3 times. "It's about choices," Marcus explained. "About how the choices we make change our lives." "I have no choices," the princess said quietly. "I am told what to do, what to say, what to think. Every day is the same." "What about your mother, the Empress? Don't you talk to her?" The princess looked down. "She speaks to me only to give orders. She is very busy ruling the empire. She has no time for talking." Marcus felt angry at the Empress, but he kept quiet. Instead, he taught the princess more songs. He taught her jokes that made her laugh. He showed her videos of Emma playing in a park. The princess watched them over and over. "Your daughter looks happy," she said. "She is. Even when she's sick, she finds reasons to smile. That's what humans do. We keep going." One night, after Marcus taught her a poem by Maya Angelou, the princess hugged him. It surprised them both. She pulled back quickly. "I am sorry," she said. "That was improper." "It's okay," Marcus said gently. "Humans hug people we care about. It's normal for us." "I wish I was human," the princess whispered. Marcus went home that night, feeling worried. He knew this couldn't last. Sooner or later, someone would find out. He was breaking rules he didn't fully understand. But he couldn't stop. The princess needed these lessons as much as Emma needed her medicine. What Marcus didn't know was that the security system recorded everything, every word, every lesson, every smile. And Empress Kael'thra was watching. The next night, Marcus arrived for his shift as usual. He swiped his keycard. The door didn't open. Instead, alarms blared, red lights flashed, heavy footsteps echoed down the hallway. 6 royal guards surrounded him. They were huge, nearly 8 feet tall, covered in armor that looked like it grew from their skin. "Marcus Webb," one of them said in a deep voice. "You are under arrest. The Empress demands your presence. Now!" They grabbed his arms. Marcus's heart pounded. He thought of Emma. He thought of the princess. He thought of how stupid he had been. As they dragged him toward the throne room, Marcus knew his life was about to change forever. He just didn't know if he would survive long enough to see how. The throne room was the largest space Marcus had ever seen. The ceiling stretched so high that it disappeared into shadow. Pillars of black stone lined the walls. At the far end, sitting on a throne that looked like it was carved from a single piece of dark crystal, was Empress Kael'thra. The guards threw Marcus to the floor. His knees hit the hard stone. He looked up slowly. The Empress was terrifying. She was at least 8 feet tall, maybe taller. Her skin was deep blue-black, covered in plates that looked like armor but were part of her body. She had 4 eyes arranged in a pattern Marcus's brain couldn't quite process. When she stood up from her throne, she seemed to fill the entire room. "Marcus Webb," she said. Her voice was deep and cold. "Do you know why you are here?" "No, Your Majesty," Marcus lied. His voice shook. "Do not insult me with lies." She walked down the steps toward him. Each footstep echoed like thunder. "I have watched you. For 3 weeks I have watched every interaction you had with my daughter." Marcus's stomach dropped. "Your Majesty, I can explain." "Silence." The word cracked like a whip. "You have corrupted my daughter with your primitive human culture. You have taught her your inferior language. You have filled her head with your weak ideas about choice and freedom and emotion." "I only taught her some words and songs," Marcus said. "I didn't mean any harm." "Harm. The Empress stopped in front of him. She was so tall that Marcus had to crane his neck to see her face. You do not understand what you have done. In Valorian culture, we do not mix with lesser species. We certainly do not teach them to our young. What you have done is forbidden. Then why did you wait 3 weeks to stop me? Marcus asked. The question came out before he could stop it. The Empress's 4 eyes narrowed. You dare question me? I'm sorry. Marcus looked down. But if you were watching the whole time, you could have stopped me on the first night. Why didn't you? Before the Empress could answer, doors burst open. Princess Lysa'ara ran into the throne room. 2 guards chased after her, but she was fast. Mother, no! She cried. Please don't hurt him. Lysa'ara, return to your chambers immediately, the Empress commanded. No! The princess ran to Marcus and stood between him and her mother. He did nothing wrong. I asked him to teach me. It was my choice. You do not have choices, the Empress said coldly. You are a princess of the Valorian Empire. Your life is not your own. That's exactly what's wrong. Tears ran down the princess's face. Marcus had never seen a Valorian cry before. He didn't know they could. You treat me like an object, like a tool, not like a person. You are my heir. You must be strong. Emotion is weakness. No, it's not. The princess wiped her eyes. Marcus taught me that. He taught me poems and songs and stories. He taught me that caring about others makes you strong, not weak. She turned to Marcus. I want to show her. May I? Marcus nodded, not sure what she meant. The princess faced her mother and began to recite. Her English was perfect. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could. She recited the entire poem. Every word was correct. But more than that, she spoke with feeling, with understanding. Marcus saw the Empress's expression change. The cold mask cracked just a little. When the princess finished, there was silence. You memorized that? The Empress asked quietly. Yes, Mother. It's by a human poet named Robert Frost. It's about making choices. About taking the path that others don't take. The Empress stared at her daughter. You have never spoken to me with such passion before. Never with such confidence. Because I was never allowed to be myself before, the princess said. Marcus treated me like a person. He listened to me. He taught me that my thoughts and feelings matter. The Empress turned her 4 eyes to Marcus. What magic do you possess, human? What trick have you used on my daughter? Marcus slowly stood up. His legs were shaking, but he forced himself to meet her gaze. No magic, Your Majesty. No tricks. I just treated her with kindness. That's what we humans do. We see people, not ranks, not titles, just people. That is absurd. Rank matters. Order matters. Without hierarchy, there is chaos. Maybe, Marcus said, but without kindness. There's nothing worth ruling over. Just scared people following orders. He expected her to kill him right there. Instead, she walked back to her throne. She sat down heavily, like she was suddenly tired. I have ruled this empire for 23 years, she said. I inherited the throne when I was young. My entire family was killed by rivals who wanted power. I survived by being harder than them, colder than them. I learned to trust no one, to show no weakness. She looked at her daughter. I thought I was protecting you by teaching you the same lessons, by keeping you isolated, by making you strong. You made me alone, the princess said softly. The Empress was quiet for a long time. Then she asked, When was the last time someone told you they loved you? Marcus saw the princess's question from weeks ago, repeated. The Empress had no answer. She looked away. My empire is falling apart, the Empress said finally. 5 species have rebelled in the last year. 12 more are on the edge of revolt. My generals tell me to crush them, to make examples, to rule through fear." She looked at Marcus. "But fear only works until something stronger comes along." "You don't need to rule through fear," Marcus said. "You could rule through respect, through trust." "Impossible. We have tried peace before. It failed." "Did you try kindness?" The Empress laughed. It was a bitter sound. "Kindness is for the weak." "I'm weak by your standards," Marcus said. "I'm just a janitor. I have no power, no weapons, no army. But I raised my daughter by myself when my wife died. I worked 3 jobs to keep food on the table. I came to an alien world and work in the middle of the night, all to save her life. And you know what keeps me going? Not strength, not power, love, hope, kindness. Those things do not conquer worlds. No, but they make worlds worth living in." The Empress stared at him for a long moment. Then she did something that shocked everyone in the room. She stood and walked down to Marcus. She looked him in the eye. "I will not punish you," she said. "Instead, I will make you an offer. Continue teaching my daughter. But I will watch. I will listen. I will learn what makes humans capable of inspiring loyalty when my empire cannot." Marcus blinked. "You want me to keep teaching her?" "Yes, under supervision, in a proper classroom, not hidden in archives." "Mother, really?" The princess's face lit up with joy. "Yes, but understand this. Human." The Empress's voice turned hard again. "My court will not like this decision. There will be those who see you as a threat. You will be in danger." "I've been in danger since I got here," Marcus said. "But if it helps her, I'll do it." The Empress nodded slowly. "Then we have an agreement. You will teach my daughter about human culture. And perhaps—" She paused. "Perhaps you will teach me as well." As guards escorted Marcus out, he looked back at the princess. She was smiling bigger than he had ever seen. The Empress was watching her daughter with an expression Marcus couldn't quite read. Maybe confusion, maybe curiosity, or maybe, just maybe, it was the beginning of understanding. Marcus knew this wouldn't be easy. He knew the danger was real. But for the first time since he arrived on this alien world, he felt like he might be doing something that mattered, something bigger than himself. He just hoped he would live long enough to see it through. The classroom was small but clean. It had a table, 2 chairs, and a large screen on the wall. Marcus stood at the front, feeling strange in his new clothes. The Empress had given him a teacher's uniform instead of his janitor outfit. It felt wrong somehow. He was still the same person. Princess Lissaara sat at the table, eager and ready. Behind a dark glass window, Marcus knew the Empress was watching. She watched every lesson now. "Today," Marcus said, "we're going to talk about Earth's history, about how humans govern themselves." "You have many governments, yes?" the princess asked. "Not just one ruler?" "That's right. Most countries on Earth are democracies now. The people choose their leaders." "Choose?" The princess looked confused. "How can common people choose? They are not trained to rule." "That's the interesting part," Marcus said. He pulled up images on the screen. "We believe that everyone has value. Everyone deserves a voice. Even common people." Behind the glass, he heard a sound. The Empress was listening. "But that must create chaos," the princess said. "What if the people choose poorly?" "Sometimes they do," Marcus admitted. "Democracy isn't perfect, but it has one big advantage. When leaders know the people can remove them, they have to listen. They have to care." The princess thought about this. "In our empire, leaders stay in power through strength, through fear." "I know. And how's that working out?" The princess looked down. 5 species are in rebellion. More want to leave the empire." "Maybe they're not rebelling against the empire itself," Marcus said gently. Maybe they're rebelling against how they're treated, against not having a voice. Over the next weeks, the lessons grew deeper. Marcus taught the princess about human rights, about freedom of speech, about art and music and all the things that make life worth living. He showed her videos of Earth's cities, its forests, its oceans. He played her Mozart and the Beatles and traditional songs from different cultures. The princess absorbed everything like a sponge. But Marcus noticed something else. The questions she asked were getting harder, smarter. These weren't a child's questions anymore. These were the questions of someone learning to think differently. One day, the door to the classroom opened during a lesson. The Empress walked in. Both Marcus and the princess stood up quickly. "Sit," the Empress said. She pulled up a third chair and sat down. "Continue." Marcus swallowed nervously. "We were discussing human philosophy. The idea that all people are created equal." "Equal?" The Empress's 4 eyes focused on him. "But you are not equal. Some humans are stronger, smarter, faster than others." "That's true," Marcus said. "But we believe everyone deserves equal dignity, equal rights, equal opportunity to make something of their lives." "That is inefficient. In the Valorian Empire, we assign roles based on genetic traits. The strong become warriors. The intelligent become administrators. Everyone knows their place." "And what if someone wants a different place?" Marcus asked. "What if a warrior wants to be an artist? What if an administrator wants to be a farmer?" "That would be wasteful. They would not perform their assigned function." "But they would be happy." The Empress went quiet. The princess looked at her mother, then at Marcus. "Mother," the princess asked softly, "did you want to be Empress?" The Empress turned to her daughter. "I was born to be Empress. Want is irrelevant. But if you could choose anything, any life at all, what would you choose?" For a long moment, the Empress didn't answer. Then she said, "I do not know. No one ever asked me that before." After that day, the Empress came to more lessons. She sat quietly in the back, listening. Sometimes she asked questions. Her questions were hard and challenging. She didn't accept easy answers. But she was learning. One afternoon, Marcus showed them a video of Emma. It was recent, sent from Earth just that morning. Emma was in a hospital bed, but she was smiling. She was telling jokes to the nurses. "Your offspring is ill, yet she smiles," the Empress observed. "How?" "Because she chooses to," Marcus said. His voice was thick with emotion. "She's in pain every day. The treatments make her sick. But she decides that life is still worth living. That's what humans do. We find reasons to hope, even in the dark." The princess wiped tears from her eyes. The Empress stared at the screen for a long time after the video ended. "I do not understand humans," she said finally. "You are weak by our standards, physically fragile, short-lived. Yet you have something we do not, something I cannot name." "It's called the human spirit," Marcus said. "It's what makes us keep going when everything says we should give up." "We Valorians lost something," the Empress said quietly. "A very long time ago, we had art, music, stories. But we decided these things were wasteful. We focused only on conquest, on expansion, on power." She looked at Marcus. "We became very good at taking things, but we forgot how to create things." "It's not too late," Marcus said. "You can learn again." "Can I?" The Empress stood and walked to the window. Outside, the city stretched for miles. All metal and stone. No trees, no parks, no green. "Look at what we have built. An empire of 2,000 worlds. And none of them have joy." That night, Marcus got a message from Earth. It was bad news. Emma's condition was getting worse. The doctors needed him to come home. They said she might not have long. Marcus sat alone in his small room staring at the message. He had to go home. He had to see his daughter. But if he left now, what would happen to the princess, to the empress, to whatever was changing here? The next day, he told them, the princess cried. The empress stood very still. "You must go," the empress said. "Your daughter needs you. But the lessons are not as important as your child." The empress put a hand on his shoulder. It was the first time she had touched him gently. "I understand now. Family comes first. Always." "I don't want to leave," the princess said. "Please don't go." Marcus hugged her. "I have to. But you keep learning. Keep asking questions. Keep thinking for yourself." "I will," she promised. That night, Marcus packed his few belongings. His shuttle was scheduled to leave in the morning. He would be home in 3 days. He would see Emma. But he felt like he was leaving something important unfinished. At midnight, alarms woke him. Red lights flashed outside his window. He ran to the door and saw guards running past. "What's happening?" he asked one of them. "Rebellion," the guard said. 3 more species have revolted. They've destroyed military outposts in 12 systems. The generals are demanding we respond with overwhelming force. Marcus's blood ran cold. He knew what that meant. Genocide. The Empire's way of dealing with problems. He ran to the throne room. The doors were closed, but he could hear shouting inside. He pushed through the guards and burst in. The Empress stood in the center of a circle of military officers. They were all shouting at her, all demanding action, all demanding blood. "We must destroy them," one general roared. "Make an example. Show the Empire what happens to rebels." "That will only create more rebels," the Empress said. She sounded tired. "You have gone soft," another general accused. "The human has corrupted you with his weak ideas." The Empress's eyes found Marcus in the crowd. For a moment, their gazes met. "What would you do?" she asked him. The room went quiet. "If you were in my position, what would you do?" Marcus stepped forward. He knew his answer could start a war, or maybe, just maybe, it could end one. "I would ask them what they want," he said simply. "I would listen, really listen, and then I would try to make things right." The generals erupted in angry shouts, but the Empress raised her hand for silence. She was thinking. Marcus could see it in her face. She was choosing her road, the one less traveled. The Empress stood in the center of the throne room. Around her, generals and advisors argued. Their voices echoed off the high ceiling. They wanted war. They wanted blood. They wanted to crush the rebellion before it spread further. "Enough," the Empress said. Her voice cut through the noise. "I have made my decision. I will open negotiations with the rebel systems." The room exploded. Officers shouted in outrage. One general stepped forward, his armor gleaming. "You cannot be serious," he said. "We do not negotiate with inferiors. We conquer them." "And how has that worked?" the Empress asked. "We have conquered for 10,000 years, and now our empire crumbles from within. Perhaps it is time to try something different." "This is the human's influence," another officer said. He pointed at Marcus. "He has poisoned your mind with his weak philosophy. He must be removed." "Marcus stays," the Empress said firmly. "He is my daughter's teacher." "Then you leave us no choice." The general's voice turned cold. "For the good of the Empire, we must take action." It happened fast. Guards that Marcus thought were loyal suddenly turned their weapons on the Empress. More guards flooded into the room. The coup had been planned. They had been waiting for this moment. "Seize her," the general commanded. "The Empress is no longer fit to rule. She will be replaced by a military council." "No!" Princess Lysara ran into the room. Marcus tried to grab her, to pull her back, but she was too fast. She stood in front of her mother, small and defiant. "You will have to go through me," the princess said. "Step aside." "Child," the general said. "This does not concern you." "It concerns me greatly." The princess looked at the guards surrounding them. You serve the Empire, yes? You swore oaths to protect it? We serve the Empire, a guard said, not a weak empress who has forgotten our ways. Then let me remind you of our ways, the princess said. She stood straighter. Let me tell you what I have learned. Our empire was built on strength, yes, but also on honor, on duty, on protecting those who cannot protect themselves. She began to recite. In English, Marcus recognized the words immediately. The Gettysburg Address. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The guards looked confused. They didn't understand the words, but the passion in her voice was clear. The princess continued, her voice growing stronger. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. Marcus felt tears in his eyes. She remembered every word, every inflection he had taught her. The princess finished with the most important part. We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. She switched back to the Valorian language. That is what I have learned from the human. That true government serves the people, not the other way around. If you kill my mother, if you kill Marcus, you are not saving the empire. You are destroying everything it could become. One of the guards lowered his weapon, then another. The general saw this and snarled. Enough of this! He raised his weapon toward the princess. Marcus didn't think. He just moved. He threw himself in front of Princess Lysara just as the weapon fired. The blast hit him in the chest. Pain exploded through his body. He fell to the floor. Everything happened at once. The Empress roared with rage. She grabbed the general and threw him across the room with impossible strength. The guards who had been wavering made their choice. They turned on the coup leaders. Fighting erupted throughout the throne room. Marcus couldn't see much. His vision was fading. He felt the princess kneeling beside him, crying. He felt someone else. The Empress. Her 4 eyes looked down at him. Stay with us, she commanded. That is an order, human. Tell Emma. Marcus tried to speak. Blood was in his mouth. Tell her I love her. Tell her I'm sorry. You will tell her yourself. The Empress picked him up like he weighed nothing. Guards, clear a path to the medical wing. Now! The fighting was intense. Half the military had sided with the coup. The other half was loyal to the Empress. But the Empress's personal guard, the ones who had listened to Marcus's lessons, fought with something the coup leaders didn't have. They fought with purpose, with belief, with something worth protecting. Marcus faded in and out. He saw the princess holding his hand. He heard explosions. He felt himself being placed on a medical table. Valorian doctors worked on him with their advanced technology, but his injuries were too severe. We cannot save him, one doctor said. His organs are failing. Our medicine is not compatible with human biology. Then find a way, the Empress ordered. I do not care what it takes. There is one option, an old doctor said. The ancient stasis pods, the ones from before our empire. They can preserve him indefinitely, but it is a risk. We do not fully understand the technology. Do it, the Empress said. Mother, what if it kills him? The princess sobbed. He is dying now. The Empress touched her daughter's face gently. For the first time, she showed her emotions openly. This is his only chance, and I will not let him die, not after what he has given us. They put Marcus in a pod that glowed with blue light. His consciousness faded. The last thing he saw was the princess's face. She was telling him something. He couldn't hear the words, but he knew what she was saying. Thank you. The battle for the palace lasted 2 more days. The Empress fought alongside her loyal troops. She was terrifying and beautiful, a force of nature. The coup leaders had planned well, but they hadn't counted on one thing. They hadn't counted on the guards who had listened to Marcus's lessons. Guards who had learned that there were things worth fighting for beyond orders. Things like protecting a child who believed in change. Like serving an empress who was brave enough to try something new. When it was over, half the palace was damaged. Hundreds were dead. But the coup had failed. The empress sat on her throne, covered in battle damage. Around her were her remaining loyal officers. The princess stood beside her, exhausted but unhurt. "The situation is worse than we thought," an advisor reported. "The rebellion has spread to 15 systems. We have lost contact with 20 more. The empire is fracturing." "Then we must act quickly," the empress said. "But not with war. Not this time." "What do you propose?" an officer asked. The empress stood. She looked at the stasis pod in the corner of the throne room. Inside, Marcus floated in suspended animation, alive but not living. "I am going to Earth," she announced. "Myself, personally." The room erupted in protests. It was unheard of. The empress never left the homeworld. Never. "You cannot," an advisor said. "It is too dangerous. Earth is an uncontacted world. We have no diplomatic relations." "Then we will establish them," the empress said. "I am taking Marcus home, and I am going to meet his daughter." "Why?" the princess asked. "What will that accomplish?" The empress looked at her daughter. "Because he sacrificed himself for you, for us. Because he left his daughter to come work in our empire, all to save her life. And because—" she paused. "Because I have never met someone who would give up everything for someone they love. I need to understand what that means. I need to see where it comes from." She walked to the stasis pod and placed her hand on the glass. "And because I owe him a debt. He showed me that there is another way to rule, another way to live. He taught me that strength without compassion is just cruelty." She turned to face her council. "I will save his daughter. I will use our technology, our medicine, our resources, and then—" she looked at the stars visible through the damaged ceiling. "Then I will offer Earth something no species has ever been offered. True partnership, true equality." "The Empire will see this as weakness," an officer warned. "Let them," the Empress said. "I have been strong for 23 years. It has given me an empire that is dying. Perhaps it is time to try being wise instead." 6 months later, a ship entered Earth's solar system. It was the largest vessel humanity had ever seen. It carried the Empress of the Valorian Empire, her daughter, and a human in a stasis pod. Earth's government scrambled. This was first contact. This was everything they had dreamed of and feared. The Empress had one message, one request. "I need your doctors. I need your medicine. I need to save a janitor who changed the galaxy." And humanity, being human, said yes. Emma Webb sat in her hospital room, staring out the window at the massive alien ship in the sky. Everyone on Earth could see it. It had been there for 3 days now. The news said the aliens wanted to help someone. They wouldn't say who. Emma was 12 years old. She was thin and pale from years of treatment, but her eyes were bright. She refused to give up hope, even when the doctors said her time was running out. The door opened. A nurse came in, but she wasn't alone. Behind her was someone tall, very tall, and definitely not human. Emma's breath caught. The Empress of the Valorian Empire walked into her hospital room. Behind her was a younger alien, and between them, on a floating medical bed, was her father. "Dad?" Emma whispered. "He cannot hear you yet," the Empress said. Her voice was deep but gentle. "But he is alive. Your human doctors are remarkable. They saved him when our technology could not." Emma started crying. She tried to get out of bed, but her legs were too weak. The princess rushed over and helped her. Together they approached the medical bed. Marcus looked peaceful, sleeping. Machines beeped around him, monitoring his vital signs. "What happened to him?" Emma asked. "He saved my life," the princess said. "He took a weapon blast meant for me. He almost died." Emma looked at this young alien girl. "You're the princess, the one he told me about in his messages." "He told you about me?" "Every message. He said teaching you was the most important thing he'd ever done, besides raising me." Emma wiped her eyes. "He said you were lonely, like me." The princess and Emma looked at each other. Despite being different species, they recognized something in each other. The same thing Marcus had seen in both of them. "Your father changed my world," the princess said softly. "He taught me that being royal doesn't mean being alone. He taught me about kindness and hope and all the things that make life worth living." The Empress stepped forward. "And he taught me that I have been ruling wrong for my entire life. That fear is not leadership. That power without wisdom is just brutality." Emma looked up at this massive, terrifying alien. "Why are you here? On Earth?" "I came to repay a debt," the Empress said. "Your father gave everything to save you, worked on an alien world, left you behind, risked his life. All for you." She placed something on Emma's bed. It was a small device that glowed softly. "This is Valorian medical technology. It will cure your disease, completely, as if you were never sick at all." Emma stared at the device. "You're giving this to me? Why?" "Because your father taught me something important. He taught me that a civilization's strength is not measured by its weapons or its territory. It is measured by how it treats its weakest members, by how far it will go to save one child." The Empress activated the device. It hummed and attached itself to Emma's arm. She felt warmth spread through her body. The constant pain she had lived with for years began to fade. "The treatment will take 3 days," the Empress said, "but you will be cured, fully." Emma couldn't speak. She just cried. The princess sat beside her and held her hand. Over the next 3 days, while Marcus recovered and Emma healed, something extraordinary happened. The Empress stayed on Earth. She met with human leaders. She learned about Earth's history, its wars, its mistakes, its triumphs. She was fascinated by human democracy, by art galleries and symphony halls, by parks where children played, by the messy, chaotic, beautiful way humans lived together. "You are not advanced by our standards," she told the President of the United Nations. "Your technology is primitive, your medicine is crude, your lifespans are short, but you have something we lost. You have humanity." The President smiled. "That's what we call it too. Humanity. The quality that makes us human. Compassion. Creativity. The refusal to give up. I want to make a proposal," the Empress said. "I want Earth to join the Valorian Empire, not as a conquered world, not as servants, but as equal partners." The room full of human leaders went silent. "I am reforming the Empire," the Empress continued. "It will no longer be an empire at all. It will be a commonwealth. Every species will have representation. Every world will have a voice, and I want humans to help me build it." "Why us?" someone asked. "What can we possibly offer?" "Everything we have forgotten," the Empress said. "You will teach us how to be more than conquerors, how to be people." On the 4th day, Marcus woke up. The first thing he saw was Emma's face. She was smiling. Really smiling, not the brave smile she wore through pain, a real, genuine, joyful smile. "Dad," she said, "you're awake." "Emma?" His voice was rough. "How? I was on the alien world. You died, Dad, or almost. But the Empress brought you home and she cured me. Look." Emma stood up from her chair. She walked, ran, jumped. "I'm not sick anymore. I'm healed." Marcus tried to sit up. Gentle hands helped him. The Empress was there. The princess, too. "Welcome back, Marcus Webb," the Empress said. "You have been asleep for 6 months. Much has changed." They told him everything, about the coup, about the reforms, about the new Commonwealth that was being formed, about Earth joining the galactic community. Marcus couldn't believe it. "I'm just a janitor. I just taught some English lessons. How did that cause all this?" "You taught more than English," the princess said. "You taught us to see with different eyes, to ask questions we never thought to ask, to imagine a better way." "The galaxy is changing," the Empress said. "The rebellions have mostly ended, not because we crushed them, but because we listened. We gave them what they wanted: representation, respect, a voice in their own governance." "There is still resistance," the princess added. "Some want the old empire back, the military way, the conquest way." "There always will be," Marcus said. "Change is hard, scary. Some people prefer the evil they know." "Then we must show them something better," the Empress said. She looked at Emma and the princess, who were talking excitedly about Earth and alien worlds. "We must show them what you showed me, that different species can stand together, can learn from each other, can build something greater than any empire." Over the next year, Marcus became something he never expected, an ambassador. Not officially. He still insisted he was just a janitor. But people listened to him, both humans and aliens. He traveled to different worlds with the Empress and the princess. He taught English to whoever wanted to learn. But more than that, he taught them about humanity, about hope and perseverance, and the strength it takes to be kind in a cruel universe. Emma came with him sometimes. She and the princess became best friends. They learned each other's languages, shared stories, made plans to attend the new Galactic Academy together. The Empire slowly transformed into the Commonwealth. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, conflicts, moments when it seemed like everything would fall apart. But every time, Marcus was there with a story, a poem, a lesson about how humans had overcome similar problems. And slowly, species that had hated each other for centuries began to talk, to listen, to find common ground. 5 years after Marcus first taught a lonely princess a lullaby, the new Commonwealth Charter was signed. Representatives from 2,000 worlds gathered on Earth. The ceremony was held in New York City in front of the United Nations building. Marcus stood in the crowd, watching. He was older now. Gray had appeared in his hair, but Emma stood beside him, healthy and strong, preparing to enter the academy. The Empress spoke to the gathered crowd. Her 4 eyes swept across humans and aliens standing together. 5 years ago, a human janitor taught my daughter a song, she said. It was a simple thing, a lullaby, but it changed everything. It taught us that the greatest power in the universe is not weapons or technology. It is connection, understanding. The courage to see others not as threats, but as people. She looked at Marcus in the crowd. Their eyes met. Marcus Webb is not a warrior. He is not a scientist. He is not a leader of nations. He is a father who loved his daughter enough to work in the dark on an alien world. He is a teacher who saw a lonely child and offered kindness. And in doing so, he changed the galaxy. The crowd applauded. Both humans and aliens. The sound was like thunder. Later, after the ceremony, Marcus sat in a park with Emma, the princess, and the Empress. They watched the sunset. The sky was full of ships from different worlds, all here in peace. I still can't believe all this happened, Marcus said. I was just trying to help. That is exactly why it worked, the Empress said. She spoke better English now. The princess had taught her. You were not trying to conquer or control. You were just trying to help one person. That is the most human thing of all. Will it last? Emma asked. The Commonwealth? Will people really change? Some will, some won't, Marcus said. But the important thing is that we try, that we keep choosing kindness over fear, that we keep seeing people, not enemies. The princess smiled. You sound like a teacher. I am a teacher, Marcus said. I teach English to anyone who wants to learn, including empresses. The empress laughed. It was a sound Marcus had never heard from her 5 years ago, a sound of genuine joy. You know, she said, I have been thinking. The Galactic Academy will need good teachers, people who can help young beings from different worlds learn to understand each other. Are you offering me a job? Marcus asked. I am offering you a purpose, the Empress said. You have shown us a new way to live. Now teach it to the next generation. Help them build a galaxy that is better than the one we inherited. Marcus looked at Emma. She nodded eagerly. Okay, Marcus said, but I have one condition. Name it. I'm still just a janitor at heart. When I teach in simple words. Basic English, no fancy speeches, just honesty. That, the Empress said, is exactly what we need. Years passed. The Galactic Academy grew. Students from 2,000 worlds attended, and every one of them, regardless of species, learned English. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to understand the language that had changed the galaxy. They learned about human history, human mistakes and triumphs. They learned about a species that was weak by galactic standards, but had something special, the ability to hope, to dream, to see potential where others saw only problems, and they all took at least one class from Marcus Webb. The janitor who became a teacher, the father who saved his daughter and accidentally saved a galaxy, the human who taught an empire how to be kind. Marcus never saw himself as a hero. To his last days, he insisted he was just a janitor who knew some poems. But everyone who met him understood the truth. Sometimes the greatest revolutions start with the smallest acts. A song sung in the dark, a lesson taught to a lonely child, a moment of kindness in a place that had forgotten what kindness meant. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy, not weapons, not technology, not conquest. Just the simple, profound ability to see someone suffering and say, "Let me help." And in a universe that had spent 10,000 years believing strength meant power, that lesson changed everything. And whatever she chose next would change everything.